I'm going to take my first quarter exam in history.
Okay. What are the books that you're reading for world history?
A story of the world and story of the Greeks.
Okay. Let's go first with story of the world for boys and girls. Okay. So there are different theories about who are the first people. Okay. There are different stories from different places. Can you cite and explain at least two? At least two of them. Okay.
Okay, so it is said in the Bible that Adam is the first man in the whole world. But some people say no, he is not. For in the times of Adam, they saw a skull. They computed the time of the skull and studied it, and they said it was the time when Adam was born. Adam was born into the world. And the skull was a little bit like human but smaller but bigger than a monkey. It was called the gibbon monkey. They say that the gibbon monkeys were very hairy and were very small and has brown hair and they lived in Asia, and they say they were cave dwellers. And the second is called the Neither man. The Neither. Another skull was found. Skeletons was found in cave and in a cave and these Neither people loves paint. They say when you see a paint in a cave, the Neither people live there. And the Neither people also has paints in their skin. And they have, and those times they had spears, and they eat animals, and their skin and their clothes were made by skin of animals, and they eat animals. And the animals that time were elephants, were monkeys, and those time the Neither people, their what they call this, their weapons were spear, but it is wood and then a sharp stone on top, and sometimes a club, and then that's all.
How about you? What is your belief about human origin?
My belief is that Adam was the first human in the whole world, because it is said in the Bible, and the Bible is from God, and God is true, and so that's what we believe, and there is no other human or any more thing that antecedent before God. For God is the strongest. It is said that He made the whole world, and also my belief is that there were no other people. So I think the skulls that they see on the cave were the first, where the others were after the, what do you call this, when the Tower of Babylon fell, and the people departed on other countries, and they had different language, and of course maybe they it was a child's skull that they saw, and of course people have different face features, so I don't believe that people has evolutions like one reindeer man. People from France came in reindeers, and that's all.
Next. Can you please tell us something about these people and their contribution is in history? Okay. First, Abraham.
Okay. Uh, so Abraham is they say is the father of faith, and Abraham lived in Israel in Ur of Chaldees. I mean in Ur of Chaldees. He was a Jew, and he has Abram. His name was Abram at first, and he has a wife named Sarai, and the Lord told Abraham to go to the promised land. So Abraham journeyed, and while they were walking, they stayed on one place, and there came a famine in that land. So when Abraham and his people journeyed to a place, and they landed in Egypt. And there in Egypt, the Pharaoh in Egypt, that's what they call. That's what they call, and the Pharaoh was very pleased for them, and they became good friends, and Abraham taught the king some things, and the king also gave Abraham some cattle and gold and silver, and then after the famine they settled again, and journeyed again, and then and one time Abraham came up on a hill, and God told him that you will have a son, and you will have many sons, as much as the stars, said the Lord. And after that Abraham and Sarah had a son, and they named it Isaac. And then that's all.
Okay. Next, how about Joseph?
Okay, so Isaac had two sons. Its name was Jacob and Esau, and Jacob had sons, and they had 12 sons. I don't memorize the sons, but Jacob has two sons. I mean, has two wives. It was Leah and Rebecca. I mean Rachel, and Leah and Joseph was Rebecca's son, whom he loved the most, and Jacob and Benjamin, and his sons Reuben and others knew that he loved Jacob the most, so they were becoming jealous of him. And one time his father made him a rainbow coat, rich in colors, and the brothers were very mad at it. They said, "Father is only favorite only Jacob. I mean Joseph. We must kill him," they say. And then they had put Joseph into a very, very deep well, and after that, and then Joseph's brother took his coat and put some blood on it, and they told their father that Joseph was dead, and his father mourned. He was so sad. And Joseph was sold in a leader in the Egypt. And the leader of that Egyptian had a wife, and his wife always liked Joseph, and she tried to sleep with him, but Joseph neglected her, and the leader's wife shouted and told the guards Joseph tried to sleep with her. So the leader was very mad, and Joseph was put into jail. And in the jail he met a cupbearer, and there are three of them there, and one was the cupbearer, and the others. And then he interpreted their dreams, and he told them not to forget him. And soon, the cupbearer was napalabas sa jail and was brought to the king. And soon he worked for the king, and forgot Joseph. And one time the Pharaoh had this dream, had a very weird dream. So he sent some wise men to interpret his dream, but no one could interpret it. And the cupbearer said, "Oh, I remember someone, and his name was Joseph. He interpreted my dream," he said. And my dream come true. And then he said, "Bring Joseph." And there, ever since, and the Pharaoh and Joseph told the Pharaoh that there is going to be famine for 7 years. So the Pharaoh gave his ring to Joseph and told him that he should be a leader and lead the people about the food. And there they stored many food. And one time famine did came. So in Israel, his brothers came and told the leader, which was Joseph. They said, "Please give us food like that, and we will pay you." And then after that, Joseph instructed them to give the money, to put their money that they paid into their sacks. And he said, "You are spies," they said. But Joseph said, and then his brothers knew him not that he was Joseph. Though they said, "Please, sire, please spare us. We have a father. He will be very sad if we die." And like that. And then after that he said, he asked if there were more of them. And after that they came back, and he took Simeon and jailed him. And he said, "If there is more of you?" And then they said, "Yes, we have a little brother. His name is Benjamin." And then he said, "Bring him here." For Joseph only wanted to see his brother Benjamin. And so they brought Benjamin to Joseph, and Joseph put his silver cup on Benjamin's sack and accused Benjamin. He said, "You will be put into jail." And the brothers of Benjamin and Joseph said that please don't put him into jail. I will be in jail, said Reuben. Our father, he's the only one left that our father loves, said Reuben. Please bury him like that. I will just be in jail, said Reuben. Excuse me. And then after that, Joseph cried and told them the truth. And pinalabas nila si Simeon, and soon he told them to tell father the good news and live there with him. And then that's all.
Okay, next. Definitions. Word definitions.
Okay. The story of the world by man.
Yeah.
Adam.
Please, Adam, thanks.
Okay. The Phoenicians lived on the east, and the Phoenicians were the first people who knew about the who sailed. They were the one who the whole world who were the one who created boats and ships, and they also showed the Europeans how to make boats, and also made note of the trade by water, and soon boats were known in the whole world, and that's all.
Okay, next. Okay. How about King Hiram? King Hiram of Tyre.
Okay. There was this David. Excuse me. The king of Israel. God told David that his son, David wanted to build a temple for the Lord, but the Lord said, "No, your son will fulfill that." So David wanted to help his son, and so David wanted to help his son. So he went to his friend Hiram, and Hiram was a great friend, and David prepared the tools that his son needed to build the temple of the Lord. And when Hiram knew about it, he said to David, "I will help you. and then he gave him the tools that he needed, and he gave him the tools that he needed. And when David died, Solomon came, his son. He did build the temple of the Lord that the Lord instructed him, and Hiram also became the good friend of Solomon, and he always helped them in their needs, and then that's all.
Okay, yes. Thank you. Okay, next question. Still with the story of the world for boys and girls. Can you tell us more about the Greek people and their government? Okay. Can you describe the Greek people and their government?
Okay, so the first living of the Greeks, they were natives. They knew nothing. They kill animals to eat, and they were called Pelasgians. And soon some Egyptians came, and they became civilized. And there came towns, and people in Greece loves telling stories to their children, and soon stories were passed about Jason and the Golden Fleece, Ulysses and other stories, and some did not know if it was even a fairy tale or true. And then also they love poems, and people in Greece love to write. They write poems, and like Homer, a famous writer of poems. His name was Homeric. His poems was named Homeric poem, and they had great structure. The Greece has great structures, like their walls, and then that's all.
Okay. Explain why the Spartans believed that every man is a soldier. Explain why the Spartans believed that every man is soldier, and what do they do or mean by this?
Okay, so
So the Spartans believed that every man or every boy is a soldier. What do they mean by this, and what do they do with it?
they mean that every man must fight for their country, and no one is exempted and for the Spartans, they say that their country must be strong, and so because of their belief, even women in that time would give up their sons to be a soldier. They wanted that. Because if they said that if you don't want to give your son in the war, you don't want to serve your country. That's what they say. So all women gave their sons and sons to the soldiers. In 7 years old, in 7 years old, uh, in 7 years old, they would give their son. They said their son should rather die for their country rather to die on their own without serving their country. And the Spartans were very strong men. And then that's all.
Next. What can a young person like you learn from this training as a child? What can a young person like you learn from this training of the Spartans as a child?
That you don't have, age doesn't matter. If you want, doesn't matter if you want to serve for your country. Like Rizal, he was or Rizal or Bonifacio. Bonifacio was 14 when he started to write pamphlets for his country. So I think they are showing that age doesn't matter if you want to serve for your country or for someone like that. And I think I can learn from them that you should be strong and brave, and that's all.
Okay. Now let's go to the story of the Greeks, okay? Overlapping the story of the Greeks, the boys and girls. Okay. You have already mentioned about these people, but will you please kindly describe more who the Pelagians are?
As I said, the first people in Greece were called the Pelasgians, and they were curious people and loved learning, and they loved art and structures and they also have a lot of stories and that's all.
Okay. Nothing more to add?
Nothing more.
Okay, what happened with the deluge of Odysseus? What happened? The story of the deluge of Odysseus.
Okay, so Inachus, the first prince that came, the first prince that came in Greece. He was an Egyptian priest that came in Greece. He is also the one who taught them how to cook and how to start a fire. He also taught them how to create houses and he also built with them the Cyclopean wall, and that there came a great earthquake. And because of the great earthquake, the waters came, and Inachus and the people climbed up on a mountain, and there was a great flood. It almost flooded the whole Greece. And when the deluge of the and the king that time was named Old, and that's why they named that place, I mean that time, deluge of the oaks. And and there they stayed there for days, and soon the flood came down, and the Cyclopean wall still some of it still stood, and then that's all.
Okay. Next, and last question. Share at least 2 cities founded during the ancient Greece and the stories of those cities that you will choose. Okay? At least 2 cities, okay, founded during the ancient Greece and the story behind it.
Okay. It's about Athens, and there was this man who came after in Inachus, and his name was Cercrops, and Cercrops came there, and he taught the Pelasgians many things, like how to harness oxen, and he also taught them how to plant wine, grapes, and how to get oil from all. I mean how to plant olive, and he also taught them how to get wine from olive, and oil from olive and wine from grapes, and he also taught them how to plant and how to harvest, and he taught them many things, and he also made a city in honor of himself, and named it Cecropia, and he became the king there. And but soon he founded the religion of the Pelasgians and their goddess Athena. So he named that place Athens, and in honor for their goddess Athena, or Athena, and that's all. And next was uh okay, I think Inachus, and I told you Inachus was the first Egyptian prince who came in the palace in Greece, and he founded the city of Argos, and that city was named Argos, and around it was named Argolis, and there and that place is also where he built the Cercropian wall and some walls and the first stone houses of the Pelasgians, and then that's all.
Okay, thank you. That's all.